Alright, the next topic is prep or preparation. Look, preparation can be good and it can be bad. Sometimes we need to prepare for things that are going to happen in the future, right? But there's this one Stoic quote that I really like, which says, "Anxiety lies in the future, guilt and shame lies in the past, and certainty lies in the present." Right? Not to go all philosophical on everyone here, but preparing for the future can be a good thing. Right? Preparing for a competition or for some type of challenge or some project or presentation or event or something like that. But we can also over-prepare. Sometimes we prepare for something that will never happen. Or we prepare for something that we think will happen, but will probably happen a lot different than what we think. And that is where the anxious type of prep comes from. The type of prep where we spend so much time trying to be ready for this big thing that's gonna happen, and then we just end up wasting time. We spend energy that we don't really need to spend, that we can't afford to spend. So there's always that fine line of, is this gonna happen or am I making assumptions? Right? I'm very guilty of this. I make a lot of assumptions and I have had my ass handed to me on multiple occasions where I assumed something. I thought I could trust my gut. I thought I could trust my heart, my head, and then I just turned out to be wrong. The thing is that assumptions come from wanting to protect ourselves. Something happened in the past. We learned that we need to prepare. We need to be ready for when something like that ever happens again. We need to protect ourselves. But at the same time, if we're implementing prep into our lives and we go all out and we're assuming, then that begs the question, right? Was it good or was it bad? I wish I could say that prep is never a bad thing, but sometimes it is. And the reason I'm saying this is because I'm thinking of these groups like, these conspiracy theory groups who are like, oh, the world's gonna end on May 1st, 2030 because some Arabian rock in the desert says so, right? Or there are these propaganda posters being spread around on Facebook or on WhatsApp or whatever group chat thing the new chainmail spam is posted on, shared on. And I just think, but realistically, is that an actual thing or not? So I grew up in a family where conspiracy theories was quite a big thing for one side of the family. I have family who believe that there was some planet called Nibiru out there who is gonna crash into Earth sometime. It never happened. And that was quite awkward. But then when it didn't happen, the quote-unquote leaders of these groups just changed their story. They just said, oh no, but the planet went off course or something like that. I don't even know what they do. But that type of preparation, like doomsday preparation, right? That's just way over the top. It's excessive and it's also very tiring to everyone involved. So when I grew up, a family member of mine used to stock up food and like toilet paper and bottles of water and survival tactics, right? And look, at the end of the day, that is a good thing to an extent. It was a good thing because it meant, well, we always had backups for food and things that are necessary, to survive. So maybe if we had a bad month, we could just head down to the basement and grab a few things. But we never really needed to. Doomsday never came. So at one stage, I got a pack of noodles and it expired 2 years prior. So this is just an example of wasted money, wasted energy, all of that. Now, who am I to say that these things wouldn't happen, right? Well, that's the thing. Assumptions. We need to ask ourselves, are these things realistic? Who is actually telling us about these things? And is it sort of a fantasy movie type of mindset? Or is it something that's really plausible to happen? The universe is quite unpredictable. At the end of the day, the universe doesn't care about morality, immorality, what's right, what's wrong. You can't outgame what happens in the universe. There are some things we can, through science and research, but other than that, well, we're pretty lame, pretty useless without any of that stuff. Humans have been prepping for decades and for ages, millennia, preparing for doomsday. Oh, the rapture is gonna happen, or some world-ending event, or some meteor, or something is gonna strike the earth, or whatnot. We're still here. You all remember 2012? It's quite ironic because me as a South African, I remember sitting in the movie theaters, and at the end of the movie when they had to go to Table Mountain, the entire theater just burst out into laughter. And I mean, now that we're kind of facing I don't even know if I'm right for saying this, but now that we're facing World War III, thanks America. No, sorry. Thanks, Orange Man. I'm wondering, is it even necessary to prep for that? I don't think so. I mean, I think a large chunk of the world is kind of just making and sharing memes about it, right? Because what else can we do? It doesn't help to go all crazy and get all anxious and panicky and all that type of stuff. What I'm getting at here is there are some things within our control and other things outside of our control. Again, another Stoic principle. Realize what you can and what you cannot control, and you will find peace. Assumptions drive us all crazy. But when it comes to prep, right? Let's say you're prepping for some competition or something. That is a lot of work that needs to go into that, especially if you don't know what your opponent is capable of. Hours and hours and hours of work eventually pay off, and that's what makes us. But it's not necessarily hard work or a lot of work. It's just consistency. I've spoken about this topic before, consistency. Well, it wasn't a topic, but just like a side topic. If you're consistent in what you do, then you are preparing adequately, right? So a lot of times, for example, New Year's. People create New Year's resolutions. They're gonna hit the gym every day for 30 days. And then they're gonna start training real hard. By the end of the year, they're gonna look super buff, super built, super healthy. And a lot of times, those people just don't stick around. For a few reasons. Number one, they don't have a goal. They just start and that's it. So they don't really know where they're working towards or what they're working towards, which makes it a lot more difficult to remain consistent. But if you do not have a goal in mind, say if you don't say, okay, I want to weigh 70 kilograms and have a lean muscle body by the end of the year, then you can't really do any type of research or preparation to get to that point, right? So you don't know what to do. Another Stoic principle. If you don't know which harbor you're sailing to, then no wind is going to be favorable or some shit like that. The other thing is consistency. If you don't have anything that you're working towards, then you should just stay consistent. Maybe it's going to the gym every day for 10 minutes and just running on the treadmill for 10 minutes, right? Eventually, over time, your body will get used to those 10 minutes. You'll be able to run faster, to run longer, for longer time periods. You'll be able to put in more challenges like weighted running or, faster running or incline or decline running. That is where consistency matters. The thing is, like in life, a lot of times consistency gets interrupted by hardships, right? By difficult times, because life isn't very linear. It's quite chaotic. Things happen that we never ask for. Things happen that take our time, that make us just lose out on our consistency. And that's the thing. There's no such thing as doing something for 30 days. You just have to do it every day. That's how you get good at something. That's how you build habits, doing it every day. Not 30 days, not 2 weeks, none of that. So by being consistent, doing something every day, eventually it just becomes automatic. It becomes part of your routine, where you don't have to think about it. It's just part of your day. So, for example, let's use something simple. Let's say you want to prepare for some event in the future, but you're nervous. You can practice your speech. You can put together this whole presentation type of thing for it. You can practice how to speak to people, make eye contact, all that type of stuff. But will it go well if you just do it a few times? Or are the chances better that it will go well if you practice a little bit every day? And that's the thing, right? Once you start, at the very beginning of these times, you don't have to have it perfect. In fact, you shouldn't have it perfect. Because if you don't have it perfect, it means you have a lot of time and a lot of space to grow and to become more perfect. That said, you shouldn't even aim for perfection. You should just aim adequacy, right? For something that makes sense to you, for the type of quality that you like. Because at the end of the day, really, the way to be successful in this world is to stop comparing yourself to other people. Because again, this is also something I spoke about in earlier episodes. If you compare yourself to other people, you are just living the way that they live their own lives, that they do things, and then you take away your own individuality, the things that make you different. Because you're trying so hard to do things the way that other people are doing it. You're trying so hard to live a life the way that other people are living their lives. But that's why it barely ever works out. Because you are not those people. You live a different life. You have different environments. You have a different circumstance. All that type of stuff. Right? You have a different mind. You're not a clone. So when you prepare for things, yeah, you can use references. You can maybe see how other people do things. But if you do that, there's this one quote that I love from Mr. Robot during a chess match where Elliot said, if you find a good move, look for a better one. And that's the same thing. Like when you work on preparation for anything and you're using references, you're looking at the way other people are doing things, don't do it the same as they do, because there's always a way to do it better. Look at the way they do things and do something to make it better. That is the secret. That is the difference. So, preparation can be really good if it's done on your own terms and if it's done for something that's realistic, right? Not some meteor crashing into the earth and turning us all into wannabe dinosaurs, but rather realistic events and things that will make you grow and become better in life. Become the type of person that you want to be. If you have an image of the type of person you want to be in your head, then you have a starting point. If you don't, well, there you have it. That's your starting point to create the person you want to be in your head, right? So, when it comes to preparation, do it your way. And this is just a suggestion. Maybe it won't work for you. Maybe you love copying other people and that works for you. Then that is perfectly fine. But I know for a fact that a lot of people try to copy others. They try to follow the same schedule. They try to follow the same type of habits, routines, all that type of stuff. And then halfway through, they just drop out because they notice that it doesn't work for them. And then they blame themselves. This is also something I said in a previous episode. But that's the difference. If they didn't have to compare themselves all the time, if they didn't have to try to be someone else with a completely different life, then they wouldn't be blaming themselves. They wouldn't be feeling like failures. So that's the difference. Preparation is good, but within limits, right? So I hope these words made sense and I hope that they help a few people out. Even if it didn't resonate with you, that's okay. That's alright. Maybe future episodes will. So hey, don't give up on yourself. Don't give up on your potential. If it's not there yet, give it time. Allow yourself to prepare to become for what you want to become and the type of person you want to be. Alright, take care of yourself and remember, you matter in this world and don't let anyone tell you otherwise. They're lying. You deserve to be here. You have a place in this world. Always. You just gotta find it. See you in the next one. Peace.